I just hope it's. Come on, let's actually work today. Oh, oh, yo, there we go. Welcome to Out of the Draft Podcast. I'm Dylan, and this is
Mitchell,
this is
it's
season. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's glad to be back. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Season 2, episode 1. We're starting a little earlier than we wanted, or actually not we wanted to, but like we started a little bit earlier just to discuss with you guys a few things, just to recap last year and to give some crazy updates and some crazy ideas heading into the 2022 season. First things first. How you doing? It's been a crazy off season.
Yeah, I know, man. We got a lot to cover. I'm excited to dig into it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, let me move my mic. Hope that's not loud, but there you go. All right, does that sound pretty good though, for real?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, cool. All right. So first, I think we should start off and talk about the end of the 2021 season. Um, we left off. We didn't do the last like 3 weeks. We left off with Bubba Wallace winning the Talladega season, or season Talladega
Even
race.
it's a whole thing there, you
Yeah.
know.
Uh, and then, so I forgot what happened after that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Anyways, let's just talk about the round of 8. I feel like we should just start there
Sounds good.
for Cup, and then for Xfinity and Trucks, we'll just say the final 4, and we'll just talk about that race.
Right.
The round of 8 was actually really exciting. If I remember, I think I do, but I just need to go
I
back.
think I do.
I need to go back to like the schedule, see what happened.
Right.
But you can go ahead and start off. Do you remember the first race of that round?
Is that Kansas?
Was it? No, it was Vegas. It was Vegas.
Who won that?
Hamlin. Hamlin won.
Hamlin
No.
won Vegas?
No, that was no.
No, Hamlin didn't win Vegas.
Yeah, I mean he did, but I don't think it was in the final round. We're stuck in right now. Sorry, guys. We don't have our stat.
Right. It's been a while.
NASCAR schedule.
Hamlin won Vegas?
Yeah, I knew you won Vegas. Like Chase was catching him, and then I do remember that.
Oh, yeah, okay. I do remember that.
All right, let's go to. All right, yeah, the round of 8. All right, first was Texas. I think Texas was a snoozer. Just like always, I mean Texas is really bad, especially with the 550 package.
Yeah, and the whole repave, that's when it all just kind of went downhill for Texas.
Yeah, I do remember Kyle Larson literally dominating that race. I do remember that like vividly. And he just completely led like over 200 laps and ended up winning. There was nothing special about it. Now a lot of playoff drivers did have problems. I remember like Truex, Hamlin got into some issues. Blaney got into some issues, and Truex had a where Suarez kind of like moved up, and then Truex got into him, and then wrecked him into the fence, and then so on and so forth. I do remember that a little bit, but all I gotta say is I knew that Kyle Larson won, and that kind of set him up to make it to the final 4 at Phoenix. And then moving on to Kansas, we had a really good race. I think it was probably one of the best races we had in 2021.
I agree. It started out with, a ton of passing left and right, tons of battles. Really the whole race. But yeah, that was a good race. Yeah. I think I only caught like the last 50 laps of it, sadly. But of course, watching replays and stuff, it was tons of highlights to be looked upon with that race.
You had a point where you really didn't know who's going to win the race. I do think the 9 had the best car overall,
especially coming to the end there.
Yeah, but Chase, he got himself back in traffic, and what happened was he was trying to get through the field, and obviously Harvick was the next guy before he got to Larson, coming to about 12 to go, and Harvick, which we'll talk about this, I'm sure that's in our top 5 moments in 2021, at least for me. It's in there, but he didn't help him at all, which I mean he has every right to, because I mean it's racing. It's not trying to let people go. So, but he made it harder on him to pass, and then he ended up passing him, and then he got to about, it was like 7 laps to go, and then Chase was catching like tenths a lap. Like, it was crazy.
Oh yeah, Chase was coming.
But that's just because he was flat-footed. Like, my man wasn't flying, and then because he was trying so hard, and he got into his wake of the 5 car, and he slammed into the wall, and then I mean, he still ended up finishing second, but the problem was he already had all that aero damage, and he couldn't get him. And then Larson ended up winning 3 straight again. And this is the second time he won 3 straight, because he also won at the Charlotte Roval as well, which led us into that round.
Yep.
And then Martinsville, there's a lot of contact. Chase won both stages. I do remember that because that's what locked him into the next round. He didn't even have to win. He was automatically locked with the points that he had. And obviously, since Larson won 2 races, there was 3 points paying spots available. And then there's just a lot of action throughout the field. I remember Brad and Kyle Busch getting involved with each other a little bit.
Yeah, especially there at the end, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember after stage 2 kind of where the track went. I did know Larson really fell off. Like, he was running up front, running really well for his standards at Martinsville.
Right.
But I think his car really fell off, and so did the 9, and that's where they got back in traffic. The 9 was trying to catch back up and try to, he was trying to win the race. I mean, I get it. But, and then throughout that, Brad actually spun the 9. throughout that whole situation, he spun the 9, and then you got Hamlin, Truex. It was a caution with like 20 to go, if I'm not mistaken, and Truex was getting beaten and banged like all around, and he was getting shuffled back, and he wasn't gonna make it. And then you had the leaders. You had Hamlin the leader, but you had Alex Bowman second. And then they were battling. Alex was trying to be super clean with it. You can see lap after lap he was not trying to touch the 11 at all. And then every time he would just get into a little bumper just to say, I'm here. Every driver does that. So,
right.
And then moving forward, about 7 laps to go. Alex gets to run off turn 2 really, really good. And he goes under Hamlin, but because he's trying to push it deeper in the corner, he will hops it, gets into the 11. 11 spins, wrecks. And then the
crowd went wild.
The crowd was. It was Hamlin's hometown, but somehow they were cheering. Like, that's all I have to say on that one. And then, the caution came out. Then you had Bowman, someone second. I don't remember who that was. And then it was Brad.
I think Kyle Busch.
Kyle was second. I thought he was fourth. Oh, no. Truex was fourth because he gained 4 positions because of the choose rule. And then that's actually what led him into the next round as well. Yep. But also Hamlin was also a kind of a lock even after getting spun out because of the way the points were going. So no matter where he finished.
It was close there at the end. Once it happened, because, I mean, obviously while Hamlin was up front leading, he was locked in. But once he got spun and went back to, 20th or whatnot, the points really showed, and we were like, he might not make it.
It was...
he needed, another catastrophe to happen to not make it. So
I think it was, less than 5 points between him and Kyle Busch at the time. And Kyle needed to... Kyle really needed to take the lead because of how many cars are on the lead lap. And Kyle was going for it, and Brad was really fighting Kyle, even though he had no opportunity to catch Bowman.
Yeah.
And which, of course, they two got into each other coming across the checkered. And then the final 4 were set. Actually, Alex Bowman won the race. And then at the end of the race, Hamlin and Bowman really was, nose to nose. one was doing celebration, one was flipping the other one off. You know, it's just a normal short track racing.
Right.
And then Hamlin got Hamlin was so butthurt
Sorry.
over Twitter. No, you're good. In the sense of he was like, y'all don't know what I go through. Like, I put in so much effort and so much work. Like, I mean, I get it. I'm not saying that no one else does, but calling a man a hack after winning 4 races in the season doesn't really add
Right.
up. Now, I get if you would have said Eric Amarola, but like,
oh god.
I'm not saying Bowman's great, which I mean, I don't even think my man's even gonna make the round of 12 this year. But that's just.
I disagree, honestly. But,
but no,
we'll get into that.
Yeah. I really don't have. I just don't think he's not like he's not terrible. Like he's definitely got something behind the wheel. It's just I just don't think he has the experience of equipment, and so that's why it's really difficult for him to put his talent with the equipment. You know.
Yep.
And then the Final Four is set, and you can talk about the championship race.
Well, I didn't see it, so
Oh.
I don't have much to say besides the end. I mean,
all right. So you had the first 4 guys. They qualified up front, all of them, because we did have qualifying for the last race of the season. By the way,
yeah, I think they qualified 1 through 5, 5th, right?
Yeah, they were 1 through 5. The one of them was in between. Somebody was in. I think it was Reddick that was in between them.
Yeah, something like that.
But you saw that. Where am I at? Sorry. Oh, by the way, qualifying will be back and practice for 2022. That's awesome.
Yes,
I don't care what the system is, however they're doing it. I just want them to do it. Like
right. I just want them on the track. I mean, that's all we care about. That's
like it doesn't matter if it's all on Sunday. Like
for real. Right. And it's crazy to think that too, because before all COVID and such, it was like, oh, it's just qualifying. Oh, it's just practice, you know. But now it's like when we get that little taste of it, it's like, oh, hell yeah, man. They're out there on the track, you know.
Yeah,
even in the aspect of being there, you know. Because, you know, when you go to a race, of course, when you buy a ticket, you get qualifying, practice, and whatnot, everything that goes on the track for that specific day. It all comes with the race, you know. So if in the terms of, you know, you'd go for like the whole weekend, you know, Friday you'd see the truck race and Xfinity practice, and Saturday or Xfinity practice, I guess Cup practice that day too. I mean, you know what I'm saying though. I mean, it'd just be loaded the whole day, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it was so different going to a race and you just show up for the race. I mean, which is still by all means awesome, but it was just a little different. So I'm excited for that to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we talk about the championship 4, I want to say like, the thrill of watching cars going around in circles, like to a race fan, that's more than anything, right? Like that's
absolutely.
Yeah. Now, obviously, to a brand new viewer, they're not going to understand. They honestly could care less. They just want to see strategy. They want to see the actual, like, what every NASCAR fan tries to tell someone, that they don't just turn left. That's what they want to see, right? But practice and qualifying doesn't show that for them.
Right.
But it's just so that's what separates the fans versus a viewer, right? So I think that's what Fox and NBC do know that, so that's why it's going to be on actually big channels. So that's good. I mean, they easily could have just slid it on Peacock if they were NBC, and they could have Fox could have been like, it's only stream only, and I would have been like, are you serious? Like, what's the point of that? But no, they actually put it on TV, so that's good. But so we had the championship 4. So they all qualified really well. I don't remember who qualified on pole, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was it was Larson, yes, because he's the one who had the first pit stop. That plays into the race. Larson the pole, Chase second, and then I think it was either Blaney or Reddick. I can't remember. I can't decide.
Yeah, it was one
and
of
then
the
it was the two Joe Gibbs guys. So they're all in the top 5. They were all really equal.
Yeah, all four of them were, I mean, dead equal the whole race.
Yeah.
I didn't see none of the race because I was working, but during a little bit of working, I'd go and check in on the NASCAR app and just at least see the running order, and you could see if it's green, yellow, whatnot. I know Kevin had a decent car, surprisingly, finally, a little late, but but besides him, really, it seemed like the top four were the top four, and there was nothing anyone could really do about it. It was going to be between them for the win, 100%, and they made sure of
it. So each car had their own special run, I think. Okay, so Larson was really fast on the short run. Like after 15 laps, his car would fall off. Chase would take the lead. He would run for another 15 laps, and then after that, it would be the 19 that would take the lead. And he was really strong on the very long runs. That's how he's always been at Phoenix, especially since they moved to the low downforce, high horsepower package.
And even this whole 2021 year, it seemed like Truex's strong point was the long run.
It's like they really focused on making sure they had mechanical grip versus speed, and Hendrick was definitely focused on more of the speed, and you knew it showed, right? Like I mean, like Hendrick really, I mean, it was their best year ever. Like that's it. But it showed like throughout races, like they lost races because of long runs. So like. If you go back to the Southern 500, right? Like I think Larson had the better car than Hamlin, but
I agree.
But
it was just too short of a run.
Yeah,
or too long of a run, I guess.
Too long of a run, and then of course Larson was burning up his tires trying to catch him again. Yeah, but that is what it is. And then also, when was it? Oh, the first Darlington race with Truex won, right? So Larson was better, but I think the problem is like. It was so long of a run that he would just keep stretching it out. Like, he couldn't catch back up. And then Hamlin had his strengths. I think he was the best car at the end of the race, though. I think Hamlin did have the best car overall. When it came to, like, if you had to put all three sections of the race equally, he had the best car. But he never could get the track position to actually take the lead. And I think that is one of the problems that Hamlin and Gabehart, I feel like that's his crew chief's name, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Chris Gabehart, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's where they struggle with, is track position. I
agree. They don't seem to make too much of an effort to gain track position unless it's just out of normal sheer luck that they happen to have the fastest pit stop. But they're never doing a gamble of, two tires. 4 tires, let's do 2 here, 2 next time, or whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't ever see them gambling, and I mean, we see a lot of time. I mean, in other terms, a lot of other times too, we don't see other people like in terms of Hendrick absolutely dominating. If you're the fastest car every single week, there's no need to gamble because you're the fastest car.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, yeah.
Right. But on top of that, though, I feel like Hamlin could have won more races a lot sooner in the year if they did gamble. I mean, we see so much, like Keselowski, Logano, even Reddick, the 3 car and stuff, they're gambling all the time. And yeah, sure, it might not pay off in a win, but they're gaining a lot of points 9 times out of 10 doing that. And even potentially a win. But
I think, and so, Hamlin is one of those drivers that I think he has the potential, right, and to be super great. And I'm not saying he's not already. I mean,
absolutely. He's got
driver.
Damn near 50 wins. I mean, that says something right there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think when it comes to the thought process of a race and being, so there's a difference between having talent and having the smart driving ability, right?
Right.
And I think Kyle Busch has that like all around. And I think that's why he goes above and beyond when it comes to short races, long races. It doesn't matter. He can perform as long as the car is doing it, right?
Right.
I'm not saying that he can't overpower the car. He does. I think he
definitely he'll carry the car a lot.
But when it comes to like methodically racing, Kyle definitely makes more calls even than his crew chief sometimes, because he
I agree.
understands the situation.
Right.
And Hamlin, I just don't think he has that. Hopefully one day I mean he's close to the end of his career, right? Ty Gibbs is coming. I'm sorry, he's taking that 11 car. I know he is.
You think he'll take the 11?
Absolutely, just because of the 11 and in the name of Joe Gibbs Racing, right? And so that's why I think he will take that 11.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And just JD Gibbs, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but you're gonna take Ty Gibbs over Hamlin at the time, just because Hamlin's he's
got his own thing going on. It's not right. And on top of that, realistically, if Hamlin wants to keep racing, he can go do it at his own team.
And I think that's where they would look at it. And they're already getting everything they want from Joe Gibbs. Right.
So it's not like he's getting crappy equipment. He's getting the same shit, just with a different number on it now.
Yeah. I mean, literally, there's 6 Joe Gibbs Racing vehicles out there right now. I don't care what anyone says. Now, when JRM comes, there's going to be 6 HMS cars out there. I get it. Trust me. But I think, and so anyways, moving on to the race, it's about lap 270, is about 30 to go. Truex has the lead and gone. And by the way, Larson is 4th at the time. So the best driver all year is dead last of the championship 4. The 9 and the 11 are battling side by side for a second. Most of this run, the 11 finally gets past Chase, and then it was going to look like to be a Joe Gibbs battle because the 11 was catching. He was hauling ass. That run, he was hauling. And I was like, all right, what? I was like, if he actually finally does it, this would be the year he'd finally do it. But anyways, and so I was like, okay, well, this is going to be interesting because my 2 least favorite drivers are 1 and 2 right now. And I'm like, all right, this is going to be great. But
yippee!
as a true fan myself, I was like, all right, this is going to be awful for me. But I was like, all right, whatever. And then a caution comes out, which this was...
What's the caution come out for?
It was for... I don't know if there was debris off of a vehicle or the vehicle stalled. Something with a vehicle. And
I think it was like the Starcom car or whatever.
Yeah, it was literally the number 66 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it was a Toyota. So for a fact that all Toyota's funding just out of the window. They're like, get off the track. You're never doing that again. But it was something stupid. It was the caution was literally for no reason. I mean, it was because the car was standing still, but that shouldn't have even happened. You're 6 laps down. Why are you even out there right now? But that's the name of the game. That's what it is. And then they go down pit road. Larson has the second best pit stop out of the whole series, and himself. So he had the 2 top pit stops of the year. His crew did. He had 11.5, and then he did 11.7 on the final pit stop. He got all 5 lugs on every single tire.
Right.
That's
yeah.
That's all. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
And then, which ended up taking the lead because he also had the number 1 pit stall from qualifying first. And it was 18 laps to go. Guess what? He had the best 15 laps car ever. So, and clean air. He won't have to deal with traffic. It was his race to lose at that point. And then he didn't. And he was a champion, won 10 races plus the All-Star race. Absolutely dominated, right?
Yep.
It was no one could have written this better from a comeback season for Kyle Larson, right? Because I personally, I've always liked Larson as a person. Obviously, his own thing that he did, last year or whatnot. But I'm saying as in when he was 2013 and he got into the catch fence at Daytona,
I remember that.
Yeah,
that was the first time I ever. You were there for that one?
Yeah, because I was there for the 500 too. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, when that happened, that was the first time I ever heard of Larson.
Yeah.
And I remember, him getting out of the car, and I was like, who the hell is Kyle Larson, man? And I don't know why. Like, I'm not even joking. I don't know why. I didn't know nothing about this kid at all. But I saw him get out of the car in the 32, and I was like, man, he's going to be probably pretty good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well,
I had nothing to back that up on. I was just like, dang, he's probably going to be good. Like, I just have a feeling.
Like it was like him and I'm trying to think of another driver that like I just knew. Okay, Joey Logano. Okay, so he was racing at the 20 for Joe Gibbs. He was 18 years old at Kentucky. Okay, I was there, and I saw this man literally the first ever Xfinity race he's ever ran. He lapped up to the top 10 by lap 18. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I was like, this kid's got it. And then he went to Joe Gibbs. He didn't have it. And then now he's
yeah, not quite. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, now he's all right. But I'm just saying.
I wonder what exactly happened with that too. I mean, I wonder if things just never clicked the way it needed to, or if it was like that. It
must have been people. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I hope. Because I mean,
or they just didn't give him. I mean,
that's
what
I was gonna say.
I mean, there's no way they didn't give him equipment, right? Because
right, it's almost hard to believe that these days, because we used to hear that a lot, especially in the past. Like, oh no, that car, he didn't get the good stuff.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
But it's like looking at it, it's like, I mean, the team owner definitely wants everybody to win because that makes him win. Yeah. Like. So it doesn't make sense really, but I mean,
so the 11 and the 20. So you know how since they're a 4-car team, they have different sides of their shop. I'm not saying that all 4 of them isn't together, but
but it's usually half and half.
Yeah, the 11 and the 20 are the same, right? And then you have the 18 and the 19. Well, at that point, it was just the 18 by himself,
right?
And then So the 20 was getting help from the 11, no matter how you slice it, no matter if it's engineering. They had their own thing, and they kind of kept separately, but it was still all the same, right? So I think, I just think it was just his crew chief and himself. I really do.
Yeah. They just might not have ever clicked the way they need to. And I mean, him with Joe Gibbs as well might not have ever really clicked the way they needed to, I
mean, because he's a spoiled brat, and Joe Gibbs is not, right? Like, I'm not saying because if you know Joe Gibbs, and he's literally
works for everything,
works with everybody, right? Like, so
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying Logano's a spoiled brat, but But
it is just interesting the way that worked though, because he was great in Xfinity, then went to Cup and did nothing for a long time. It was odd, and then went to Penske and just
dominated. He was lit up. Yeah. I remember 2014, 2015. Man, literally shot out of a cannon with wins, and I was like, "This guy pisses me off."
God, remember the 2014 Richmond night race with Logano, Keselowski, Kenseth, and Gordon battling?
Yes. Yeah.
God, such a good battle, man. I mean, all 4 of them were just going at it, but as cleanly as you possibly can. Yeah, that was an amazing race.
And then, you had Brad who at that point, Brad was the enemy of the field, right? He complained on Kenseth that he was holding him up, and Kenseth is it's 15 to go. What do you want me to do? I'm not
right. We're racing here. I believe Kenseth was on a little older tires, though.
He was.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I just watched the race back actually, 2 days ago.
Oh, really? Yeah. The whole race?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that race, the whole race was a good race.
That was my only Richmond race I've ever liked. By the way, that is the only race that I just don't enjoy.
I agree. I'm not too fond of it. It's honestly kind of a boring short track. Not much usually happens there. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we're
kind of Kevin's won there a couple of times, so I like
it. Actually, I watched the other one that I like. That's not 2006. I believe it is 2003 is when he won it, right? Or something.
He won 2006, 2011, 2006 and 2013.
Yeah. Okay, 2006 must have been the one I just watched the day after. because he won it. So, and I thought
That's the one with the special scheme or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Junior won the spring race that year, and then he won the fall race.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Let's
Anyway.
talk about trucks and Xfinity. Trucks.
Oh man, trucks. That was something else.
Yeah, what was the last race? I'm just kidding. Ben Rhodes don't even know either. By the way, he's still drinking.
Did you see? You probably didn't. Did you happen to see his interview from last weekend at the fucking dirt race? I can't think of the name of it right now. What was the dirt race that just happened?
Oh shit, Chili Bowl.
Chili Boy. Yeah. Fucking mind blank. Did you happen to see the like in the booth interview that they had with him?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna watch it when we get off.
I mean, it's nothing special. I mean, it's a normal interview, but he just happened to mention drinking.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, I guess, at the Chili Bowl they do some sort of karaoke. I don't know. They didn't allude to it too much, but they were like, "Oh, Ben, are you gonna do the karaoke?" And he was like, "I don't know. I'm gonna have to find my friend Bud first." I was like, "Oh, I know what that means."
Well, anyways, as y'all can tell, Ben Rhodes won the championship. If you didn't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think he had the best car at all four of them, anyways. So.
I agree. Yeah, he definitely did, especially on the longer run. Yeah. He ended up saying in his drunken interview that they ended up doing an adjustment and it made it worse and went back on it and it was okay, but still, it was still worse. But
and then him and Cree was getting jiggy with it.
Not today, Mama Jamma. Oh man, that was a great interview.
I'm gonna be
that's better than Keselowski's interview.
Oh, absolutely, because that was raw, right? Keselowski.
Oh yeah,
he looked like a dork.
He just looked like a frat boy that was at like a party and he was just drunk as hell.
Yeah, literally Ben Rhodes. Okay, so obviously I know the family a little bit. If he's from Louisville, Kentucky, and that's that makes sense if you didn't know that. But I've never heard him act like that ever. Like so that I know he was the happiest he's ever been. Like that,
right.
Because that was just a raw, pure emotion coming out of I mean, you just won a championship like that.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't like it wasn't deserved. I think he was the second, if not.
No, yeah.
I mean, he was better than Creed all year, and that Creed was better in the playoffs. But
I agree.
When it comes to
definitely better in the playoffs. But
but when it came to the 99 all year, he was second best to the 4. So I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't deserved at all.
Yeah, and really, I think Ben Rhodes has probably been the top 3 truck the past 2 or 3 years. Hasn't had quite the results for it, but in terms of speed,
results,
right. Yeah, he got it done. I mean,
it wasn't like the Crafton Cup Series, Crafton championship win a couple years ago. Where he literally didn't do anything all year.
I was happy for Crafton because I liked Crafton. I'm not too fond of him anymore, just because my hype died down for him. But
yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I get that. I do. I've never liked him, but that.
I did like him for a while, but that was really because that was when Hornaday had left the sport, and so I didn't really have a favorite truck driver at the time. So I liked Crafton, but
mine was always mine was definitely Casey Kane. Through the 2012 to 2015, because he would go and run the 4 or no, not the 4. Sorry. He would go run the double zero.
The double Haas. Zero for Stuart Haas, yeah. I remember that race with was it Jones or Bell?
Yeah, it was Jones.
Yeah. God,
that was such a good race.
He was in a couple photo finishes in the double zero truck.
Yeah, Kane was so good, man.
He really was.
I feel he is literally today's Kyle Larson. So, by the way, he does everything. So that's why I do believe when it comes to Kyle Larson though, that he was gonna lose focus. I I just don't see like him like really doing what everyone thinks he's gonna do, and like win like
and run Cup forever.
Yeah, he's gonna be in and out here and like.
I just saw an article. I don't know how much truth was behind it, but apparently Larson was halfway looking into Indian IMSA rides.
I'm sure of it.
Right. I wasn't surprised.
Literally, go win a championship, one championship everywhere.
Yeah, move on. Who cares? I mean, that's amazing. I mean, like, what kind of walk off is that? I mean, obviously he's gonna still be around for a couple more years at least. We know that. But still, I mean, that's amazing. If you just come into a series, do what you gotta do, and head to the next. I mean, like, you could just be the best everywhere at that point. That would be the next, in my opinion, Tony Stewart, because he's really the only other person we've seen do that type of thing. Absolutely. Go literally from series to series to series and just fucking win them all.
Yeah.
I mean, did you just see he's doing drag racing now?
I mean, yeah.
He's gonna do it all.
I think AJ Foyt was the first guy to do that. To go through different series and stuff like that. And Tony Stewart looked up to him.
Successful anyway.
Yeah. And then Tony Stewart did the same thing, right? And he started with open wheel. He was successful in open wheel. He moved to Cup. He was really successful. I mean, he won 3 championships. And tons of Xfinity races and stuff like that. So I don't see why people would think he.
I'll have a lot of his Xfinity wins because they're all for KHI.
Yeah, they definitely are. A lot of the 4, or no, did he drive a 4?
Yeah, he drove the 4 a lot, and then also the 33. That's typically what he was in. I think he did the 2 as well a few times, but.
Yeah, the 2 was mainly for Harvick, though, right? I think.
Harvick usually ran a 33.
Okay, I just can't remember it. I know KHI truck. Xfinity is where
the 2 for sure in the truck was what Kevin was always at.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But anyways,
yeah.
Congrats to Ben Rhodes. I mean, that's awesome. I think this now he's mature enough to go to Xfinity.
I agree.
I don't. I think Penske would be great for him, because he's in a Ford, so I feel like he'd stay in the Ford stable. But Penske also said throughout the offseason they're not looking for an Xfinity team anymore. So that's interesting to see, right? Because
that is interesting to see, because why not? I mean, you don't even have to plan on moving them up, and you could tell them that up front. Don't lead them on and shit. Do like a Justin Allgaier type thing.
Yeah.
Find someone that wants to run Xfinity. Let them run Xfinity.
And honestly, I know there's guys. I mean, there's so many guys out there right now, especially
that would die for a Penske Xfinity ride.
Yes, and that would do well, right?
Right.
I'm thinking of. Landon Castle, which congrats to him to getting a Colic car. That's awesome.
I'm so excited for that, man. I honestly think he's extremely talented. I always have. Ever since he really popped up in the Cup Series. I think around 2010-ish, around there, something like that.
There's only one mistake I've ever seen him make, and that was 2015 Bristol, and the caution was out. He drilled Kinza after the caution was out.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But they did speculate there might have been oil or something, but
it was.
There probably wasn't though. But yeah,
you could see
fucking destroyed him.
You could see how fast he's going compared to the rest of the field, and it was the opposite when the green flag was out. It was like, what? No, but I'm really excited for him. There's a couple guys. I mean, there's a couple Cup guys that's back markers that could easily, do well.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of someone that I know that will do well.
Corey LaJoie.
Oh, that's good. That it crosses. Honestly, I think Spire's going to do really well this season. In a sense, they're well, right? I think top 15
they're good.
Is good. For them, that's going to be a good day for them.
I think that's a stretch of top 15. I could see some top 20s, but I think top 15 is a stretch. At normal tracks, that is.
Well, okay, so I'm thinking short tracks, more more talent behind the.
I can see a short track, maybe a road course or two. Definitely a super speedway, of course, because anything can happen there. But
the intermediates. I'm not. I don't expect that. But,
no, I would expect like 25th at best at an intermediate track.
I expect like 30th. And then we had the best race of all, Xfinity wise, of the weekend, which that usually happens, right?
Yeah, man, 9 times out of 10, honestly, which is sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
But man, that's a hell of a race. I wish I got to see the whole thing, but I didn't.
Congrats to Daniel Hemrick. I mean, literally, the white flag was amazing, right? Like he did it as clean as you can do it.
Oh yeah.
Like he easily could have sent that mother trucker.
Oh, absolutely! Now, he could have destroyed him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't.
And it would have been great.
like, listen. I don't care what. I don't care if you call me cheap crap. Like, all these fans could be hollering at me. Guess what? I'm the one with the title. I don't care what you guys say. I'm gonna do it.
You know what I would have loved if he sent it into turn 3. Just absolutely destroyed him and himself, and then Gregson took the championship. And you know damn well they would fight afterwards.
oh my gosh! Imagine
that'd be amazing.
Would win. Cindric is.
No doubt.
Yeah, Cindric's a little.
I mean, Cindric's tall, but Hemrick he's a big dude.
Yeah, Hemrick. Okay, I saw him swing at Gregson. At Atlanta this year.
Bro, by the way, my man was on point.
My man's thick. Like I didn't think he was. Like he's a little. He's got some shoulders up there. I was like, all right, that's
he honestly like straight up reminds me of like a tiny bit smaller Carl Edwards.
Oh my god, he looks like him too. Now that you say that, that's crazy. I haven't even seen that. And he does flips too.
Does the flips and all.
But anyways, congratulations, Daniel Hemrick. I know you've. Should have won so many races, and it's not even your fault. I'm talking to you
somewhere, but
he's listening. It's not even his fault, in a sense of the stupid cautions come out. Literally, a tire blows when he's in the lead with like 3 to go.
Kyle Busch wrecks him.
On a complete accident, trying to push him to the lead.
Right.
It's just stupid stuff like that happens.
I felt like Brian Scott had that same type of luck too.
Yeah, I agree. Every time you have the second car at RCR, you have the worst luck. Like
for real.
The 33, and then of course he drove the 31, right? I think, and then something like that. But 31.
31.
Didn't Hammer drive the 31 for RCR? Like in Xfinity, or was it a what
was it? The 31?
21. Sorry, 21.
No, I think it was a 31.
Okay, I could be right, and then wrong at the same time.
No, I was just confused for a second. I was like, what? But I think it was a 31.
Okay. I mean, literally, he had so many chances. It's not, and then truck race. He was leading. Cindric dumps him at a teammate, right?
Yep.
Wasn't it a road course or something? Something like that.
Yeah,
Cindric's first ever win in the top 3 series or whatever, and just, gosh, just can't stand Cindric. Just pisses me off. By the way, I do think he's gonna do well at road courses in the Cup Series.
I think I mean I'm excited to see him really stack up against Chase and even AJ because AJ is gonna be there as well, but Truex as well, but. I honestly think he's probably the best road course racer we have right now.
Absolutely, I hands down, and that's just because of his background as well, right? Because he came through the go-kart series, open wheel because that's what he wanted to do, and then he saw NASCAR because open wheel really didn't work out for him. And boom, I mean here he is. So also his dad's a president in Penske, so.
Yeah, that's a big. I mean, either way, open wheel would have still landed him.
Yeah, but why did you not go for it? You still could have.
I honestly think it would be harder for him to succeed in Indy.
Really? I actually.
I do.
I disagree.
I think about the sense of road course wise, and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it'd be harder to win there than NASCAR. I mean, who knows? I don't, but
well, I just think because they don't really have open wheel. Yes, talent matters to a point, but it really is the vehicle, right? Like I know that their physics and their aerodynamics is what it is. Like that.
right.
That's why they have push to pass, right? Because like they really can't pass because they all go the same speed. But NASCAR, thank you for learning that when they all go the same speed, it doesn't help with passing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, 670 horsepower package. Thank you. Anyways, we'll get to that next week. I just want to appreciate that for a moment. But yeah, I don't know what else I gotta say. Oh, I mean, we can get to our top 5 best moments of 2021.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
All right, number 5, you go ahead.
My number 5 top moment, and this is just to clarify, this isn't just Cup Series, it's just 2021
Same.
in general.
Right.
Is Colleague Racing winning their first ever Cup race at the Indy Road Course debut with AJ Allmendinger. I thought that was just a big moment, just because Indy's first first Indy Road Course race for the Cup, and then also Colleague winning it. I mean, that's just big, getting their first win that way. So.
Absolutely. Number 5 for me, I had Coda completely. Just because, I mean, the Cup race wasn't that great. Just because of the rain.
Due to weather. Yeah.
It wasn't because of the track.
No, yeah. Because, I mean, we saw, even with a little bit of weather throughout the other 2 races, I mean, not nearly as much as the Cup, but, I mean, they were great races.
Yeah, the truck race was great with rain, so.
Yeah. It was just, the Cup, it was too much water. They couldn't handle that with their cars.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to see them in March, since March will be a good season for Texas. Honestly, all the grass is going to be green as well, so that's good. Thank you for that. Why don't Sonoma go there too? But
was it not green when they went? I don't remember.
No,
you could never see it.
It was really yeah, you could never see it. But just it's really cool racetrack. The crowd was awesome. I mean, I wasn't there, but like from what I saw, the crowd was like so hyped up. I mean, everyone. Yep. I mean, they stayed even during that rainfall, and it's going to be a great racetrack to host for the Cup Series, because we're the number 1 motorsport in America, and it's the biggest and best racetrack in America, right? So like, there you
go. Yep. My number 4 is Josh Berry winning Vegas in a JRM 1-2-3 finish.
Oh wow!
I thought that was an awesome moment for Xfinity, but Josh Berry in general and JRM, it was a massive statement, especially coming to the end of the year.
Yeah, especially the wind card. So.
Right, and I think that's a big part of what we're going to see this coming season from them. We're going to see stuff like that.
Absolutely. My number 4 is the first 7 races was won by 7 different drivers, and that set up for a really good season for the Cup Series. I think 2021 was one of the best seasons I've ever watched, really. And yes, it had the 550 package, and that is what it is, but it still had really great racing, and I think the first 7 races really set up to how good the season was going to be. So.
Yeah.
And number 3 for you?
Number 3 is Kyle Larson wins the championship. I mean, how can you not look at that and not consider that a big moment? Absolutely. Obviously, as we alluded to earlier, it's a huge comeback story. And this is big for him in general for his career. And I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more to come from them.
Absolutely. Cody, we're doing the top 5 best moments in 2021. That's why, yeah. Number 3 for me is the Indy Road Course. The track itself. I'm not a big fan of Indy Road Course personally, but I do think this one was very special. Just how besides the curbing issue that we had, it was a really good race.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
it was a really good race. It had a lot of highlights when it comes to racing and ability. And then, of course, you had the Hamlin versus Briscoe. Briscoe getting a penalty, but doesn't care and spins out Hamlin for the lead coming to the white. and AJ ends up passing and wins in the Kaulig for their first career win and his second in the Cup Series. So that's awesome, and I think that really sets up Kaulig for 2021 or 2022 to be successful. So
I agree, and with that, I mean AJ I think is running 5 of the road courses.
yeah,
I believe, something like
I
that.
believe he's running all 7 or all 6
He's
that we
running.
have. Yeah, and
Okay.
I think he's also running another oval. Like he's running ovals too. Just we don't know which
Yeah.
ones yet.
Right.
But
yeah, because it's split 3 ways between the 3.
Yeah, Gregson, Emmerich, and AJ.
That's what 12 races. Yeah, 12 apiece.
Yeah, 12 apiece. It's 12 apiece. I think it's gonna be 8, 14 and 14. That's what I think it's gonna be.
You think?
Yeah, because I think AJ only wants to run 8 because he only wants to run the two ovals and the 6 road courses. So I think it'll be 8, 14, and 14. But
what do you think the 2 ovals would be?
probably Bristol is 1, just because how much he loves it.
Yeah, I can see that, and then maybe even Martinsville.
Yeah, or I'm trying to think of what track could be the race or Homestead at the end of the season to get prepared for the Xfinity title, so he can have some more practice and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I'm trying to think of what he would want to do, and I think that's the only thing that I could see. But obviously, they'll let us know. I'm sure.
Eventually, yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna know by honestly by February 3rd, so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And then number 2 for you.
Kyle Busch wins his 100th victory at Nashville.
Oh gosh, I forgot.
That's massive. Massive for Kyle Busch, of course. That's massive crazy. For Xfinity.
Yeah.
That's big for, of course, the return to Nashville. Sneaking that win away. He was the last one to win there in the Xfinity Series. No, he wasn't. Never mind. Don't listen to me. But he comes back and wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
100th victory. I mean, I almost went with that being my top moment because I think that was so massive.
Really? Like, I just, not saying I overlooked it. Like, I just completely forgot that was this year.
Right.
Or I would have totally had that instead of the 7 races and 7 different winners. To me, that's a really cool moment, but it's not one moment. It's 7 different races, so I was really iffy.
Right.
But I would have totally had that under number 4. So the fact that you had a different one was awesome to me. Was that all for your number 2, by the way? I don't want to cut you off. Okay, cool.
No, yeah, that's
it. Number 2 for me, I had HMS completely. So what I mean by that is, so all year, they were winning races. They won 17 races. They had a 1 through 4 finish at Dover. That's the last time that's happened in an organization was Roush in 2006.
Yep, and they went 1 through 5, right?
2005. Sorry, 2005, and it was 1 through 4, and the 5th guy wrecked out. So they had 5 cars, so it wasn't able to do 1 through 5, or they would have. Honestly, they probably would have. But
probably
it was the last race of the season at Homestead of that year. And then, of course, not only
probably won that, didn't he?
It was I think it was Greg Biffle.
Yeah, he won a lot from Homestead. Yeah. That's the only track he was good at.
Yeah, that in Texas and that was
yeah. Michigan here and there.
Oh my gosh, that's aggressive. 17 wins overall.
That's a lot. More than half.
More than half, or no, right at half.
Well, yeah, right at half, yeah.
Because they also won an All-Star race. That's cool too.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
And then Kyle Larson winning the championship too. With a comeback story. So all of that combined to me was a top 5 moment, a second top 5 moment for me, just because HMS. That is what I grew up, loving the team wise, and so I think seeing that was really special. So number 1.
Number 1.
I want to see if we have the same number 1.
I feel like we might.
I think.
I couldn't deny it. Like I said, I almost put the Kyle Busch one as my number one, but I couldn't. My number one is the Bristol Xfinity race. By far, is that yours?
Well, so I have more
No.
to it, but yes,
Okay.
it's in there. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the race in general was absolutely amazing. The first two stages all started out, the run at the bottom. It looked like really old school Bristol. They were having to move people up the track and out of the way to get by. It was amazing. I mean, it was great. It brought us back, felt like the old days. And then eventually the middle lane, not necessarily the top, it's kind of like the high middle came in. And it didn't dominate, but it did come in. So then they were running the high, middle, and the bottom, and they were just equal. And then, then we came down and had just absolutely, honestly, probably the most phenomenal finish we've seen, and probably since, I'd probably say since Darlington with Kurt and Ricky Craven. And really, I mean, that don't even really compare because I think that was still better than that. But
that's so cool that you have that there, because my number one is I title it the best weekend of 2021.
Okay.
So,
which I do agree with that because. I'm sorry to cut you off. All three of those races were great too.
Yeah,
we did the live stream for the trucks. That was an awesome race, and so
so I kind of put like little dots and dashes to explain myself. So if I don't say everything correctly, that's why, because I'm reading right at it. The truck race, there's just a lot of contact.
That's always
a lot of because there's a playoff cutoff for them as well. So it was just a crazy battles throughout the field, and then of course Chandler Smith got his first ever win in the Truck Series by moving Creed out of the way, and then whatever
happened to John Hunter,
whatever
that was.
I look back, and actually it looked like he does have a flat tire, because the last lap he is still dropping like a rock. So I think he actually because I wanted to watch it back. I wanted to make sure that I was like, this is what I wanted to put on there.
Right.
And then, so I'm going to go with Xfinity. I said a lot of great racing throughout the field. Literally lap 1 to lap 300 was amazing. And then at the end, you had AJ, Cindric, and Allgaier beating and banging. You had Herbst right there, right and forth, just in case if they all wrecked. Literally, you wouldn't know who's going to win the race. You had AJ overdrive the corner into Cindric. You had Allmendinger go under them. He overdrives into Cindric. Cindric goes there, and then Cindric gets mad because AJ takes the white, and then he full sends 3 and 4, and then coming out of 4, they both hit each other. They spin across the start-finish line. Boom. Best finish I've ever seen in my lifetime from watching it live.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. From watching it live, by far the best finish I've ever seen.
And then we go to the Cup race, which was also, so AJ won the race and took over for the season regular
season championship, with that win,
Yeah. And then we move on to the Cup race. It was great racing through the whole race. There was no dry moment. And then, of course, NBC really showed, the leaders, the playoff battle, the cutoff. They were really explaining the whole situation. The race was phenomenal. And then about 34 to go, 35 to go, Harvick finally caught up to Chase, which has dominated the last 100 laps at that point. And Harvick got up to Chase. Harvick pinned him behind the lap car. Chase didn't want that, so he drove it in just to make sure he didn't have him in his wake, which is understandable. And then they make a lot of contact. Rubin's racing. It happens. The 9 gets a flat tire. He has to go down pit road, loses 2 laps, comes back, gets in Harvick's way, and just stays right there. Doesn't really wreck him, but stays right there. And, of course, that doesn't make Harvick happy. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then Larson ends up coming in and wins the race. But Byron was right there, could have easily took over for both of those spots because he was the fastest car on the track, the last 30 laps. And then of course you had the Reddick, you had the Kurt Busch battle, and all these other different battles that they're showing with 3 laps to go. It was crazy.
At the end there they had, I think, at least 3, but I think even 4 different screens showing the different battles going on because there was so much going on.
and they had every single like analyst talking about each screen, right? It was the perfect of what NBC should do, right? So like you had Dale Jr. talking about the race lead. You had Steve Letarte talking about the points and the situation, what he's supposed to talk about. You had Jeff Burton kind of like fixating the all what drivers are coming and going, and then you had or Rick Allen explaining like all these different scenarios, what could happen if a caution came out. Explain like literally drawing the crowd in, and I think that was by far the best moment in 2021 was that whole weekend itself.
I agree. So, and regarding the NBC, specifically that moment as well, that's probably one of the best executions they've done on calling a race
ever
since becoming a thing, because we've always been talking about, the 4 announcers is just sometimes a little too much because they're all talking specifically about the exact same thing. They're all saying the same thing about the same thing. So exactly what you just said, they were all focused on one different thing, and they weren't really talking about them as a group together. You know what I mean?
It was like a combined like play. Like they had a script and they were able to talk about their character or their situation in a perfect where you could literally turn off the TV and just listen and understand.
Yeah, and you would have pictured it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably one of their best executions they've had.
And I really cannot wait till Dale Jr. Takes over about play-by-play, because the way he describes the driver, right?
I can't wait.
It is going to be, to me, I think he describes it better than DW. And I thought he was.
I agree. And I think it obviously has a lot to do with his talent, of course, behind the wheel, because he can see what's happening with the car and know what that driver's feeling or that driver's dealing with. And that's a huge advantage to any announcer, because Rick Allen wouldn't necessarily have that knowledge, He could obviously see he's tight and heading toward the wall.
But
he might not know that there's a tire flat, versus Junior would be able to immediately tell. It makes me think of the Pocono race, right? When Larson blew his tire. Literally before you can even tell the tire's flat, like right when you see it, Junior is immediately saying flat tire, and he's going to the wall. Immediately, he just sees it that quick and knows what's happening, and that's amazing.
And just like 2018, Chicagoland, right? So before Larson goes into the corner, he's immediately saying that he's going to make a slide job, right?
Right. That was the plan.
He knew the mindset behind Larson, which he understood. He was a dirt guy. He understood that was the only chance that he was going to get to not be under dirty air. Like, he knew what to do, and so like the fact that he was explaining while it was happening, of course, the iconic slide job moment.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
He was a little too excited for that one, but
and that was just the raw fan coming out of
right, and at the same time, that was the last lap. Yeah. So that's why he's so excited, because if he was pulling that on lap 30, it'd be, he's pulling a slide job, whatever.
Yeah.
But since it was the last lap, he's pulling that raw emotion in, and then on top of that, it's just like you said, he sees what's happening. Not even necessarily seeing what's happening, but he knows what needs to be done as it's happening, I guess, so he can call it that way. But I can't wait for that. I've noticed a lot in the Xfinity races when he's calling them. He's been doing more and more and more of the play-by-plays, and I love it. He's an amazing play-by-play.
And I think with this new contract that'll be signed throughout this season for the TV contracts, just because they usually do it a year and a half in advance before the TV deals are over. I think think someone is going to sign Alan Bestwick and Dale Jr. because so the reason why is they're going to. I just think that NASCAR is going to pay them way more than what they're paying, or what's the name? The series, that SRX. What SRX is going to be paying.
Oh yeah, no doubt, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure Alan Bestwick.
And he still might do SRX.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It just all depends on what type of season or where they are throughout the
Right.
thing.
The good thing about the SRX, I don't think they were in the actual racetracks, were they?
They were.
I think. Oh, they were.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
Yeah.
they were doing it like over computer, like
the way we did
a
at
while
Phoenix
ago.
for
Right.
No, they were at the racetrack just because. So if you look when they showed him and Danica, the first race, you saw the cars in the background.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I know that they're there, but I don't know. It just all depends on probably the racetrack too, because like they may not have the facility to put them there to record.
Right.
Too. So it really just I think it all depends on where they're at. But
man, I can't lie. I hated Danica as a announcer. I
she's
hated
really
it.
good at Indy though. Have you ever heard her do Indy?
I haven't, and I do believe that she would be. But listening to her talk about dirt, it literally felt like she was reading a script, and I didn't like it. Like I understood everything she was saying, but it was just like, I mean, like I get you're saying all the right things, but do you understand what you're saying? Like for real, I don't know if you do.
But anyways, but that was my favorite moment of 2021. I'm so glad that we chose the same moment. Now, yeah, mine had like a little bit more detail, but like I'm saying, like
right.
I knew for a fact you were choosing that weekend. I like as soon as I was writing these down, that was my first thought was like my number one is definitely Bristol. Like, and the fact that we're putting dirt on it again this year just pisses me off.
It's crazy because on my notes, like I had my number one down from the beginning. Like I said, I did debate moving Kyle Busch in or out, but excluding that, my 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I changed left and right because I was constantly just searching videos and stuff because I was wanting to really see and figure out what my top 5 were. Because I mean, as you know, we're watching 3 series, and on top of that, we're even watching SRX, a little bit of dirt and stuff like that. So I really had to do a recap and remember what all freaking happened. Besides the obvious, like Kyle Busch won 100 races. Like, I mean, it's hard to forget that, but. Yeah, so I had to really recap, and I would write this down and be like, "Oh, that's my number 4," and then I'd see something else, be like, "Oh no, that's bigger than that," so I'd scratch that out, write new one, and then, "Oh, that one's my number 2. Nope, that one sucks. Scratch that out." I had a hard time choosing my top 5.
No, so I had my first 3 pretty well kept, which was Indy Road Course, HMS, and the best weekend ever. Those 3 I knew that was going to be my top 3. Like there was nothing beating that. Just because for me personally, but I couldn't find anything else because I was at work. I was creating all this, so I was just going through like the year, and I only watched back like truck races. I was trying to see if there's any truck thing, but there really wasn't besides that.
I almost used Ryan Preece's Nashville win as one of mine, but I was like, I mean, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't written down but scratched out, but I was like, that's cool, but I was like, it's really not that big, especially when the following day Kyle Busch wins 100 races. So
I almost put Nashville in general too instead of Coda, but I was like, and then
I liked Nashville, but it was just not. I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of a NASCAR weekend, I think it was an average weekend, like as a whole for all 3 races. But I don't think I saw any races, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I watched the coverage live and it was great.
I think I know I saw the truck race because it ended undernight, but the other 2 I did see the Xfinity race, at least the end, because it came down to him and Justin Allgaier, and Justin Allgaier actually had a good car that day, but I don't think I saw a cup race. I don't know.
So we're getting to the end of the podcast. Usually, of course, we make our picks. We cannot do that. We do not have a race.
Not quite yet. We're not that far yet.
I mean, technically, the Rolex 24 is coming soon, but that's.
What's funny about that? So Lauren was telling me earlier long story short, while she's working, because she works from home, she
Yeah.
listens to the local radio. So she heard, people are always calling in and such about whatever. So she heard someone call in and was like, "Oh yeah, my son, blah blah blah, is running the Rolex 24 this year, yada yada yada." And so the radio people are like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, why are you calling though?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm just trying to find a sponsor." And I was like, "Oh, so that's what it was. That's why she's calling." And I was
Man.
thinking, I was like, "Man, I wish you would have caught his name or her name. I don't know." But
Yeah.
well, I guess she said son. But I was like, I'm curious to know who that is. But
That's crazy.
I just thought that was funny. But yeah, it is crazy.
Like I don't even
Looking for a sponsor on a radio station.
I don't even think I have the mental capacity to even do that, right? Like I feel like I'd be like,
on radio, you want to sponsor me, bro? Hit me up.
But since we're doing that, we are gonna do the 5 bold predictions for each other for the 2022 season. They may not be as bold as I just said bold, but
Yeah.
it does. There's no certain order. I didn't put mine in any certain order. I just kind of.
I put mine in an order, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're
like one's bigger than the other. Yeah.
Right.
Well, like I said, they're predictions, so this will not happen most likely. But I hope y'all enjoy it at least. You go ahead and start off with your first one.
SHR bounces back with 4 wins. Or actually said 4+ wins, but 4
okay,
wins.
4 plus. Gotcha.
Yeah.
My number one is actually pretty big. You already kind of know it. I already put it in the chat. That's why I put this first for me to say. LARSON wins no more than 2 races and doesn't make the Final 4 this year. And it's not okay. And it's not because I'm a LARSON hater, because I'm not. I just explained that I liked him, but I do not. I am not on the LARSON bandwagon in the sense of that he has the stock car talent as people think he does. So,
right.
so what I mean by that is I don't think that he's a terrible driver and a stock car. Absolutely not. He won 10 races and a championship. But what I'm saying is he is not going to blow off the world like Jeff Gordon did, Jimmy Johnson. He is not that superstar. Now, he is a super talent. There's a difference, right? So I just don't think that he'll go back to back in a big way. So
I agree. And then on top of that, we've seen in our sport, it is just extremely hard to go back to back. I mean, we've seen it's been a while, don't get me wrong, but we've seen a lot of times, especially in the past, someone will win a championship and they won't win for a year or two. Literally won't win. And it's just like, dang, it's like that. Like, I mean, and that's how our sport is sometimes. You literally go from top to bottom and then go back from bottom to top. Just like that.
I mean, so if you think back to 2020, Chase won the championship, but he wins just 2 races. He does make the Final 4,
right.
But he only does win 2 races, right? Like, and right. It wasn't like he was bad. He literally finished top 2 11 times. So he finished second 9 times all year. So he was literally good. He just didn't have the wins to show it. And I think LARSON will be the same, right? I just don't think he'll get the wins. Right. I think he'll be good. And I don't think he'll be as bad as Brad Keselowski from 2012 to 2013, where he won the championship and then sucked all year.
Right.
I don't think it'll be that bad, but
it's so hard to repeat what you did the year before, and it's because there's so much happens in a year, and it's such a long year, and I mean, you can start out great in the year and be bad, right? Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Kevin too. 9 wins 2 years ago, and come back with 0.
Yeah,
that's the way it rolls sometimes. Yeah.
Literally.
So
you go ahead and go with
a
prediction you got.
Keselowski and Buescher get 1 win each.
I like that. I do love that. We will have more than 3 first-time winners. So I didn't label who they were, just because that'll vary. I do think Cindric will win a road course race. I think Chase Briscoe will win the Indy road course. Actually, I'm gonna just go ahead and flat out say that. And I do think Ross Chastain will get a win and Reddick. So any one of those 3 to 4 guys, or out of those 4 guys, at least 3 of them will get their first win
I could see
this season.
that.
So
You could even almost throw in Suarez into there too.
yeah, I mean
I think
Suarez
he could.
dirt. I mean the how he ran so well at the dirt
Bristol.
was
I
crazy.
I was not expecting that, man. That really threw me off.
And, and he was
That was
really good in
amazing.
Atlanta. Both Atlanta races,
Yep.
he was running the top 5 with Trackhouse. So that's just phenomenal. So
Yeah, we could see him do it as well.
yeah,
My next one is Kurt gets 2 wins with 23-11.
I like that. I do like that.
I could see it. I mean, they got the equipment. I think Kurt's talented. I think he's almost gotten better the past 3-4 years. So
Just
I
because
expect them to do well.
I think he's gotten better because of the equipment. No, I'm not saying CGR is not terrible equipment by any means,
Right.
but
Right.
I do think that you see Larson. He wins 6 races out of a span of 5 years with them. He wins 10 races in 1 year with HMS. Yeah, of course you had someone on the pit box who was super smart. Cliff Daniels is amazing crew chief. I think if you put Cliff Daniels with freaking
anyone,
they're gonna win at least a race, just because
I agree.
he's just that good. But I think he will be the next check announced in the sense of championship level.
I can see that.
But yeah, and my third one, you were done, right? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, my third one was the same driver is going to win 3 of the 4 Crown Jewel races. Yes, we don't have the Brickyard 400 anymore.
Wow.
But we do have. So the Bristol Night race kind of took over as the Crown Jewel race. So
Which I think is very deserving for that anyway.
Absolutely. So either that person will win, all 4 races or just 3 of the 4. I just think the person that wins the other 3 doesn't win the 500. But that's why I said 3 of the 4.
Yeah, I can see that. My number 2 is no JGR car makes it to the Final 4.
Oh my. Okay, that's.
That's not happening.
Oh wow. Oh my god, that's crazy.
And we haven't seen that in a while. I mean, when's the last time we saw no JGR?
We've never.
They made at least one. Okay, so it'll be the first.
Yeah, we've never seen that. That's why I'm like, holy cow! Like we've seen
Henry
not make it, which to me that's still like
huge.
Okay. Well, I guess that shows how bad they were from 2017 to 2019, just because I mean they were bad, but anyways, that surprised me that you said that. That's so good. I wish I would have got that bold. I can't. I would say so. My second one is this will be the best intermediate package that we've ever had, in a sense of close racing, and also we will have best finishes ever.
I agree with that 100%. I'm super pumped for the package that we got.
Yeah.
With all the little, I'm gonna even say like sneak peek of all the testing that we've seen. I mean, it wasn't a sneak peek because it was very open to us all, but I guess a sneak peek into what we're gonna see. Yeah.
I can't wait to the third to talk about it because.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk about it right now, but I know that's way too early.
Yeah, we still got a lot of news to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped for the new package though. I think that prediction is right on point. My number 1 prediction, and it's probably the most bold. Ryan Blaney is the champion.
He's in my Final 4.
Yep, that's my champion.
So I think a lot of people. So a lot of prediction videos that I've been watching, just because I wanted to see what everyone else was thinking. A lot of people is saying that Ryan Blaney wins the championship, and to see how fast they were through all the tests, like Penske was like top of the notch through all tests. Yeah, of course, there's a lot of different components on why that was. The first test they were running a different spoiler than everybody else, and NASCAR told them to, so they just wanted to see what everything was. But when it came to Daytona tests, they were fast. Like it was.
Yep.
Like honestly, I was scared because I think it's only gonna make Joey Logano even make crazier blocks. But
Yeah.
but my last one is we will have more than 16 winners. Does that mean before the playoffs start? No, I don't. I don't think so. But we will have more than 16 winners.
I hope so. We got close this year. We had what, 15? 14?
14. We had 14 right
14.
before the regular season, and then we end up having Bubba.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Someone else, I think. No, just Bubba, who ended up making over that. Oh, of course. We actually had another one, AJ Allmendinger, so that didn't count into the playoffs, so we had 16 in total.
Yeah, technically, yeah. I hope so. I want to see a bunch of winners like that because that means less wins per person, and it means the odds of winning your championship is lower.
Yeah.
And that also means that everyone else's odds is higher.
And I'm trying to. So I was watching the 2013 season, the first Gen 6 season, to see kind of where we were. Hendrick, of course, dominated. Every time we get a new car, Hendrick really comes off strong.
Excluding the Camaro.
Yeah, excluding the Camaro. But
which I was surprised about, too, because I was expecting them to be damn fast.
Yeah, but, when they brought the Camaro, God, that was the worst 2 years of my life.
Man, that was rough.
As a Chase fan, always seeing 3 victories a season, I'm like, I know, he was able to win. His win count could be so much higher if it wasn't for those 2 years. But it is what I mean. I'm not complaining, but
and I'm excited for next week though. I can't wait to dig into the Gen 6.
Oh yes, same. It was such a. It was okay. I'm so glad we're out of it because I hated the car itself. But this is exactly what I grew up on in the sense of I watched the COT. That's where I grew up, really.
Right. Same.
But this was where I really dug deep into NASCAR, and so what we got to talk about and all that stuff will be so good. I guess we'll lead into closing our podcast here. We'll talk about next week. So next week we will be talking about the Gen 6. I will pull this up so I can go in detail. We're just going to say goodbye to that finally. Thank you. With all your stupid side forks that you have. But I will say that they had some of the best moments in NASCAR history with this vehicle. You can tell the best drivers excluded to the top, and there's a lot of parity in the top 10 of drivers. A lot of different teams and a lot of different manufacturers as well. So it was really cool to see. But I can't wait to talk about it because I'm eager. I'm ready to.
Yeah, I'm eager as well. I want to look up some more stats going into it. I want to look up more moments because I know we're going to be talking a lot about a lot of different Gen 6 moments. Of course, some of our favorite moments are going to be included in that. Just some of the racing in general. I want to look. Let me make a note of this right now. I want to look up how many side-by-side finishes we've had, with the Gen 6.
Yeah,
countless. I can't tell you. It's been a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm so eager for this season. And I'm so eager to hopefully by the end of the season I will be working somewhere in NASCAR, and so I'm able to keep some inside scoops if I hear it. Obviously, that I won't be too lenient on that because I don't want to lose my job. But yeah, that's my goal because that's what I'm trying to do. But hopefully, I really think that we're about to move into the best season NASCAR's ever had, and that's.
I hope so. I'm excited for it. I like everything that's changed. Man, I can't lie. I was super skeptical about Atlanta, but I'm hyped for it now. After it's all said and done, and we've seen a couple practices on it, I'm looking forward to it.
I think we're gonna see. So what type of racing I think we're gonna see is we're gonna see old Daytona racing. So early Gen or late Gen 4 races.
Yeah.
So like 2004 to 2007. So like you can spread it away from the pack with like a group of cars.
But the draft is still going to be extremely valuable.
Yeah. So
I agree.
So I think it will come down to handling still, just because
the
track has a lot of character, no matter if you put whatever on it.
Right, especially with them tight ass turns going that fast, handling will play a part, and I think we're gonna see probably a lot of spinning. I feel like the first race we're gonna see, especially in practice, I think we're gonna see a lot of like single car spins. Honestly,
that brings me back to like Kansas when they repaved that. Do you remember that race, the first race back when they repaved it?
What year was that?
It was like 2012, and like they wrecked.
I'd have to look back. Yeah, I'd have to look back.
They literally wrecked every single like every single 10 laps. There was a wreck. Like they would spin. They would just. It's just because if you didn't flat foot it right, the car wouldn't drive good because you wouldn't be fast enough. But you were on edge the whole time, especially with the COT, and that was such a great car. But, and just how like it would just snap loose, and I think that's literally what the next gen does. So if you do not drive hard, you're not going to be fast. But there's also a limit, right? There's because we've seen Reddick overdrive that limit, multiple times through these tests. But I think that also is going to help him because he knows what the limit is.
He's finding that limit before a lot of people are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think race trim that will help him tremendously. So, anyways, I shouldn't talk about that too much before we get to February 3rd. But we did have a lot of viewers tonight. I was way more than I expected. We had the top. We had 6 as our most at one time.
That's not bad for being our first one back for 4.5, 5 months now. That's been a while.
And we had an average.
Maybe not quite that long.
But an average of 3 viewers. So that's good. Thank you all for doing that.
Absolutely.
Just don't forget, we changed it from Thursdays to Wednesdays. I know that kind of, but it didn't matter because we didn't have a lot of viewers anyways. At the end of the season, we didn't, but
Right.
Anyways, just want to thank you all for that. And do you have anything to say before we let off on this?
Just glad to be back. Looking forward to 2022. Man, I've been missing NASCAR. You see all them sad memes and stuff like, oh, we're halfway through the off season, and I'm like, dang, that's it. So I'm glad to be back. We're only a couple weeks out starting racing. Start off with the Clash. We'll get into that in a couple weeks. That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, so. I'm so ready for the next couple weeks. So we have the Chili Bowl that just happened. We'll have the Rolex 24. And then we'll have a week off, the Clash. Then we'll have the Super Bowl, and then the Daytona 500. So the next month or so is going to be really big on the weekends. By the way, I will talk about this, even though we said we're going to wait till next week. The way Fox is promoting the Clash and the Daytona 500 is top tier. They have never done this, and I think I'm surprised because, well, for one, Fox is probably was the best, and then you Larry Mack and DW left, so and then it became the worst. But so. I do think that the creators of Fox and the people that are behind the scenes really would care about NASCAR, and I think that's why they will still be in our next contract. But the fact that they're putting this much effort in, right? Yes, you want to have your views up no matter what channel you're on, and you're going to promote whatever. But the fact that you're putting money into it is unreal. So, but that's beside the point. That's all I want to say. But thank y'all for watching, and peace.
Later.